Okay, how's everybody doing? Good, great to see everybody out there. Again, once again, avoided the weather, right, which is shocking this time of year. I had the rookies over at my house with a couple other guys. We've done that the entire offseason. It was rookies and then first and second year players. Had a good event over there, nice activities and stuff. I had a food truck. And that's the third time we've done that. Then I did it the second time with the third and fourth year players, and then the 5+ year players. I mean, you could really tell the difference between skill activities in terms of like golf and those types of things with the older players. But that was really fun this off season to be able to get a chance to do that with those guys and see them outside of football. And we really had a good time yesterday as well. Also good to see everybody back, in the building today. So you saw everybody. I know you guys are going to be talking to Sweat and Keenan later. Jalen also, so it's going to be good for those guys to get up here and visit with y'all. But great to see them. Their movement looked good. Their conditioning level looked good. And again, we were checking on Sweat a little bit in terms because we hadn't seen him in physical activity. He just was in the building for the other stuff, but he'll hopefully ramp up tomorrow and get some more team reps in there as we go. But overall practice I thought was good. I thought the offense started out pretty strong. In those periods that we had early on, especially 7-on-7. And I thought the defense finished strong with the 2-minute and the blitz period that we had at the end. So it was kind of evened out. In terms of Caleb, had some really good throws in there today, as you guys saw, on because we were in every down day today, all downs. So first, second, third, had some good conversions on third down. Had a couple of nice throws to DJ in there, as you guys saw that. And then relative to, I know I'll get a question about his interception. And those are the experiences that he has to go through. He has to go through his progressions, which he did. He was right on his progressions. And then he took a hitch, and the ball should have came out, and he took 2 hitches, and it was late over the middle. That's always dangerous when you do that, but that's a learning experience in the process that a young quarterback has to go through. Whenever his feet timed up, when can he make those throws? When can he make those throws? That's just experimentation. So we're just doing a really good job of getting experience, get him the exposure, let him experiment with his arm talent and the receivers that he has. And then eventually what player development happens and an evolution of a quarterback happens. And that's the process that we have to go through. And that's what we're doing right now. With that, I'll open up to questions.
Coach, you had a little bit of a dust up out there today. Where's that line between the energy and the chirping that the defense brings and ultimately frustrating the offense to the point?
That's what you call a fight dust up?
I mean, I didn't see nobody swinging at nobody.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of, again, that's what my dad would say, a lot of talking, no action. So, that happens, because we're not in full pads and people, do certain things and, hands to the face or yank a guy, whatever, and guys get upset about that. And we got to be better that way. And I've been talking to the O-line and D-line. It's really that group. And those guys have done a really good job this entire offseason. And again, there's going to be some flare-ups here and there. They've done a really good job of taking care of each other for the most part.
What's the challenge from your seat in sort of having a patience level that is on par with a rookie quarterback while also having a team that's seemingly ready to compete in a lot of other phases?
Well, it's a good thing that our quarterback's highly competitive, right? And he's of high character. And so he's going to be pushing that ball down the court. So I don't think we have to worry about that. I really don't. I think that we'll be pacing this thing at a pretty fast pace like we've done already. And I've seen the progress in him. I know you guys have only been out for a couple of practices, but I'm sure you guys have seen it too. And it's really nice to have the older skill players, like Keenan, Gerald, Cole, all the older guys that are surrounding him. And what a great job Ryan Poles and his staff have done to add those guys to really help him push that pace together. So it's really about growing together. It's about having that continuity together and really feeling the skill sets. And then once we get the skill sets down to feel what we can do offensively, then we have to leverage those things as our strengths. And that's not necessarily every single week we have to leverage that particular strength, but we have enough options now so we can leverage other ones to still find a formula for winning. So I think that once we get that down, and again, that takes time, that'll take the whole process all the way through training camp to get that done, to feel out those skill sets and to feel out where we can leverage and where we can't.
With that said, what kind of feel can you get for the capability
back to
of the offense when you have the full complement of his receivers, whether it's DJ, Keenan being here today, Rome, as you mentioned, Gerald and Cole too? What can you gauge anything at this point, or is it still too early to know like how all of that's going to look?
I think you start to gauge, a little bit in small measures. It's that we haven't had a bunch of practices together, but and then once, and I'll say it again, once we get the pads on, we'll be able to see that with a clear eye. But you have to have some clarity of who you have, I think, number one, and then you look and see what you can gather later in training camp to maybe fill a hole here and there to complement those guys. But we'll see where that goes. Yeah, we're in the process of that right now, Brad.
Kind of learn on the fly with Montez last year, right? He comes in the middle of the season. When the year ended, you sort of go back and look at it, you're studying the tape. What do you see that gives you confidence that he can continue at that level or maybe get a little bit better?
Yeah, I really feel that Montez is in a good spot. Obviously his talent level is there, and our system and the way our culture is, really lets guys play at their highest level. Meaning that we're gonna make sure that guys play at a max effort, max intensity, max preparation, because that's the way we do it. We don't walk by mistakes here. We don't let things slide. It doesn't matter if you're Montez or you're DJ or you're Caleb. That doesn't matter. We have a standard of how we operate, and it's coached by the coaches and enforced by the players. So it's important that, and he understood that right coming into it. That he was very clear with our message of how we do things, and he bought into it, and he got better every single week, and we anticipate that this year too.
With Keenan, the production obviously speaks for itself. From your vantage point, what's allowed him to have the kind of success that he's had in his career, and then what's he mean with that veteran presence to a young quarterback and a young group?
Yeah, I mean, we've all the NFL coaches have seen Keenan for a lot of years, and the first thing that comes to mind when you just say crafty. I mean, he is so crafty with his route running. He seems like he's always open, even when I used to double cover him. So it's like he is crafty. He understands his body and understands his way, and he's really friendly to the quarterback. Because he's a really big target, and he's very good at what he does. So.
Matt, with Caleb, how much do you and Shane and Thomas adjust the plans for the next practice based on what you saw mastery in or competence in the day before?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say right now, not very much because we're still installing. I do think that's part of the process, though, once you get down the road a little bit. But I don't think we're at that point right now. I just think we're installing concepts, understanding people, understanding skill sets, and he's doing a great job with that. Obviously there's something we still have to work on, as you guys saw today, is the cadence. The cadence. We still have guys jump off sides. I think there was half a dozen of the time. So that's something that needs to be worked out. That is something that needs to be addressed and worked on and improved on here in the next couple of days. We'd like to get that cleaned up.
That's a Caleb area to improve or a line?
It's the whole team, the whole offensive unit. We got to get on the same page to make sure we're no pre-snap penalties, not getting behind the sticks. You guys saw today we were 1st and 15, 2nd and 15. It's hard to operate that way.
Matt, with Keenan, are there any unique challenges to you bringing in a guy who's been in the same place for 11 years and is used to one way of doing it? How do you need to work with him to adjust to this new place? It's just kind of a pretty major life change for somebody at that age,
Yeah, I would really, because of the, I don't know if I see it that way, Pat. I would say that he is a guy that's been in several offenses. So he's had to adapt and adjust, and he's played X and he's played Z and he's played F and he's been on the move and he's done a lot of different things. So I think his experiences really help him to come in to this spot. And embrace the city and embrace the fans. I think that's where he's really gonna feel it the most because of the passion of this area, and the fans. He'll really feel that. That'll be different for him. But in terms of like adjusting to the offense or a position, I think he's fine doing that.
Almost every one of the games he's ever played has been with a really good starting quarterback on his team.
Oh, and he gets it again. There you go. Well, son of a gun.
Have you seen any effect from that? The fact that, between Phillip and Herbert?
Yeah, I was with Phillip, and again, they're very similar in terms of their accuracy. I mean, because they can put the ball on the money, and that's what Phil did. Had great anticipation. Was a great teammate. Was super fiery guy. He really energized our team that year when we were with him, and I see Caleb the same way.
Matt, in terms of the cadence, DeAndre was telling us last week, it's just something that takes time. How do you guys, what can you do to clean that up in 2 or 3 days when it normally?
It's just reps. It honestly is just reps. We just have to get the reps and get it right. And again, you have to use cadence as a weapon on offense. You can't just go ready, set, hut the entire time, right? So we got to do double counts, we got to do triple counts, we got to do dummy counts, we got to do silent count, we got to do all the counts that everybody else has in the NFL. So we have to use it as a weapon to hold those defensive linemen at bay a little bit and to get them on jump off sides. I mean, Bajan had a couple of free plays today where they jumped off sides and we got free plays, and which is their weapon. And we won a game last year doing that. So it's important that we continue to work on that because it needs to be a weapon for us.
Matt, what has Caleb done particularly well, that really has stood out to you?
I would say learning. I would really just say that. Really absorbing and learning and having a beginner's mindset to be able to just learn and absorb, ask questions, and just keep learning. That's what's been so impressive to me about him. And if he does that, he's going to be fine.